Welcome to the Voices That Propel Us, stories of justice, action, and community, a space where justice meets action and community voices rise. Each episode, we bring you stories from the front lines, changemakers, disruptors, and everyday heroes who are building a more just, equitable, and liberated world. This is more than a podcast. It's a call to listen, learn, and move together. You were just listening to music from the incredibly talented Stephen Kong. You can find him on Spotify and Bandcamp. Today we have with us Emilio Alfredo Oliveros-Reyes. Emilio is a first-generation college graduate born and raised in San Francisco's Mission District and a passionate advocate for youth development and community empowerment. As an alumnus of Bay Area AmeriCorps, the program helped launch his 8-year career in education and nonprofit work focused on supporting young people and cultivating future community leaders. Emilio currently serves as a Regional Supervisor for BAYAC AmeriCorps, where he supports and develops emerging youth workers across the Bay Area through mentorship, professional development, and leadership training. He believes deeply in the importance of cultivating the next generation of youth workers and is passionate about finding good people who want to do meaningful work in their communities. His work is rooted in lived experience, wellness, identity, and creating opportunities that empower young people to thrive. Well, hi, Emilio. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I'm really grateful and honored that you're taking the time to share this platform with me. As you know, BAYAC is always near and dear in my heart, so I'm excited to hear more about your journey and also what you have to offer and how this can be an opportunity for people who want to get into the field of service. But how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Denise. Thank you so much for having me on this episode. I'm really grateful to be here, and I'm really excited to just share about what we do and the impact of our program, and just to amplify the voices. And I'm just really happy to be here today.
Right. Same with me, too. And just starting off, I'd love to get to know you better and your journey, what brought you into BAYAC. So you grew up in San Francisco's Mission District. What experiences in your community shaped your commitment to youth development and service?
When I was younger, I grew up in a low-income family. And when I was younger, I never even knew about after-school programs, just programs in general that support youth. And it wasn't until I actually graduated from Sonoma State and I found my first youth nonprofit job through Public Allies that I discovered, wow, there are programs within the city that help youth and provide them with opportunities, and also give them the opportunity to explore the world, and remind them that there's a bigger world than a 7x7 city like San Francisco. Right. And I really feel like I like to tell people that when I started working in youth development after I graduated from undergrad, growing up low income, stepping into this type of work, it gave me a second chance to have a childhood. Right. The way these programs have been structured to amplify youth voices, connect them with resources that maybe they don't have growing up or that their parents aren't aware of, and connecting them with individuals that can open up even more doors, that drew me in. Right. And one of my biggest regrets was not knowing that I could have taken advantage of these programs when I was younger, but seeing them as an adult, I saw the importance of it. And I just wanted to be able to share that with everybody else and be part of that process.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. And I also know that you mentioned that you're a first-generation college graduate. So as a first-generation college graduate, what challenges and opportunities influenced your journey?
Man, so being a first generation, first in my family to graduate from college from the get-go, from when I was young, higher education was always drilled into us, always, no matter what. We might have grown low income, but my parents did everything in their power to put us on with the best education as they possibly could. An example would be how my parents invested in sending me and my sister into private school for middle school, from kindergarten all the way through 8th grade. Even going to college actually was part of this program called EOP, Education Opportunity Program.
Okay.
And it's this program that serves first generation and low income students, which perfectly fit my background. And what I loved about this program was they just already from the beginning, they really tried to create a very intentional experience for incoming students into the first year, their freshman year.
Mhm.
And already before even the school year started, you're already building community. You would spend a week at this university and you will build community. You will learn everything about the school. The biggest advantage was just the passionate academic counselors that were given to us through this program. I was one of those college students that I had no idea what I wanted to do. I don't think most people
Mhm.
know what they want to do when they go into
Right.
college, right? And
Yeah.
every year, every semester, I was jumping from major to major to major.
Mhm.
And it got to the point where I was about to drop out. I actually remember this every day. This is the same story I tell to everybody. It's my why I do this work. But
Mhm.
I had an academic counselor. His name is Andre Bailey. And if you're seeing this, shout out to you, Andre. But I remember going into his office, honestly emotional, ready to cry, crying. And I told him, "Hey, Andre, I think I'm gonna drop out. I'm jumping from major to major every year. The majors I want to explore, they're impacted already, and this is already in my fourth year already. So technically, I was a senior, and I was almost 120 units in. And if people don't know, once you go
Right.
past 120 units, everything's out of pocket after. And Andre reassured me, he comforted me, and he reassured me through his story and who through his
Mhm.
position. So what do I mean by that? He told me, Emilio, I'm your academic advisor today. However, I major in criminal justice. So if I allowed this piece of paper to dictate my career trajectory, I wouldn't be here right now serving you and helping you get to your next
Mhm.
step. And being again a low income and first generation student, just having someone else look out for you and be a stepping stone meant the world for me. So because of his support, we were able to expedite my degree, and I was able to declare a major in American Multicultural Studies then, and I was actually able to graduate a semester early because of his support. And again, just being first generation and low income, and this being a very important moment for my family, being the first one to graduate and get a higher education degree, he changed that trajectory for my family's name and brought a lot more just pride to my name. And that moment was so impactful that I still talk about it 8 years later, that it ended up becoming my why, which is what directed me to continue to actually to pursue this work, to be a stepping stone for someone's success. Everybody has a different definition of success. And I told myself, regardless of what their definition of success is, I'm there to help you define it. And if you don't know and if you know what it is already, let me help you clarify it and refine it. And let me be that stepping stone to get you from point A to point B.
I love that. What a beautiful journey. Thank you so much for sharing that. And, I'd love to talk more about what your service year did for you, what kind of impacts that it had on you. So, looking back, how did your service year change the trajectory of your life?
It did so much. And it's one of the
Okay.
reasons why I came back to be a regional supervisor for this program.
Mhm.
Because of this opportunity, because of BAYAC AmeriCorps, I tell folks that this program helped me identify my core values.
Okay.
I tell people that when you graduate from a higher education institution, you are in a bubble within a bubble, right? You
Mhm.
have an idea of what's going to be waiting for you when you graduate, which is going to work, right? However, it's when that bubble gets bursted that you feel the actual reality of the situation. And I had no idea who I was, right?
Yeah.
And leaving that bubble, going to moving back to my hometown, I didn't know who I was. I had to leave my old identity, and I was grieving my old identity. And I worked multiple regular jobs, customer service, or just regular jobs in the past, but just for the sake of just making money. But I'm a very purpose-driven person, very career-oriented person, and this program allowed me to identify my core values, which ultimately dictates who you are, where you're gonna go, who you're with, and what you consume. And it just gave me clarity of what's important, what makes me shine, what makes me feel energized, and what keeps me going.
Mm.
And so this program gave me not only did it give me the clarity of who I am, it reminded me of what matters, and also just the connections I was able to meet through this program, right?
Right.
One thing that doesn't get talked a lot about our program is that there's a big difference between just working a regular youth development job and
Mhm.
working in a job like this. And it's the community building that happens and the professional development that happens within the space. And it's the same relationships that I built when I was in that cohort. The irony is that some of those members that were in my cohort are now our partner managers,
Yeah,
right?
I love
And
that.
I've been blessed to have the opportunity to, because of this program, I've barely applied to jobs. Jobs have found me because of the references
That's
I've
cool.
had, because of the connections I made. So it opened up a lot of doors for me. And I mean, 8 years in, I'm still doing this work, and now I'm extending that same opportunities that are given to me to the next generation.
Yeah, I really love that. Thank you for sharing that. And I love to hear more about what BAYAC AmeriCorps is. So, for listeners who have never heard of BAYAC, what is the organization and why does it matter?
Yeah, so like I said, we are a national service program that places members at schools and nonprofits across the Bay Area. In these
Hmm.
roles, members work directly with youth, primarily in underserved communities and communities that need to be highlighted. And all our members support provide academic enrichment support, emotional learning, and youth development. Really, the goal of our program isn't just to place members at a site, it's to help them develop holistically from all aspects, all areas of life. What I love about this program is I like to say that we are a workforce development and a career exploration program. In this line of work, we are constantly going to be changing. Our values are going to change. Our priorities are going to change. And so is our identity. And what I love about this program is that I like to say is that we pay people to explore a career for only 11 months, right?
Hmm.
And 11 months is a very small speck compared to a lifetime, right? And I like to say,
Yeah.
hey, while you're young, especially when you're young, when you have the opportunity and the bandwidth to explore, this is
Hmm.
a program I love to highlight because I've noticed that there's a lot, we might know people that are in careers they might not enjoy anymore, right? Or they're
Right.
stuck. And what I love about this program is it gives folks the ability to prevent from being stuck in their career they don't like through exploring something through a short term.
Hmm.
And what I really love about the program, especially for folks who are just graduating out of college or even just out of high school, but specifically out of college, is when you're coming out of college, you might have no idea what you want to do, but you still have to make an income. We provide that, right? And we provide connections and community. And what I love about this program is my ideal candidate is someone
Hmm.
who knows that they're either interested in education or they want to continue their education, whether it's in the form of a 4-year degree or a
Hmm.
graduate program or continuing certification. And what I love about this program is that we offer an education award that helps
Right.
invest in that goal. And we have members, and because of that, we have members coming back to us twice. They do
Uh-huh.
2 terms because it helps them invest into their next steps. And you know, we all know that education in America is not free, right? And
Right.
you can tell that this program is so important that there's a cap as to how many terms a member can reapply because
Mhm.
of the benefits of the award.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for bringing that up too. And I love to hear more about that. So, I think that's what was cool because I was also a director of recruitment actually with Public Allies. You mentioned that earlier. And I used to say that you get paid to make a difference. And sometimes people would tell me, like, oh, how much is this program? Because, a lot of the trainings that you do and everything outside of AmeriCorps, you might actually have to pay for those trainings. I was like, you don't pay us, we pay you. So, can you talk more about like what are those benefits to joining to joining this program if people are curious, like how much is the stipend? If you can be specific about how much the education award is, I'd love to hear more about that from you.
Of course, of course. Talking about compensation, just being transparent.
Hmm.
So this is a $30,000 11-month contract, right?
Right.
This is a stipend program, and our members receive around $2,700 before taxes. Obviously, it depends on what you file in your tax status. But again, the biggest selling point is the education award. And the stipend is meant to cover basic living expenses, housing, food. But again, it's really the education award, which is $10,000. And it's because of that education award that members come back twice. And sometimes they wish they could do a third term. And everybody knows that getting a higher education, whether especially graduate school, it is not, it's not
Right.
cheap, right? And this program really it's the closest thing to getting a discounted education, right? And this program really attracts a lot of first generation students because of that. I think that, I mean, obviously, I believe that education should be free, but our mission is to support that through our means, through this education award. And a lot of folks, because of that reason, they keep wanting to come back. And I guess you can say that this is one of these programs where we tell folks, hey, this isn't about the money, right?
Right.
At least not starting off, right? Everybody has to start off somewhere. And I do believe there's money in every industry, right? But if we can help you eliminate debt and invest in your future, and coming out of debt free as much as possible, that leads
Yeah.
to a lot of folks wanting to come back. Like a lot of programs, a lot of our new applicants are actually have been referred by previous BAYAC members,
Oh,
right?
that's cool.
And I like to say, hey, not only are we providing folks clarity, we're providing folks mobility and the education.
Yeah.
We are working on ways to increase the education award, and I'm really excited for that in the
Oh,
future.
cool.
I just think that when a lot of folks come to this program, they look at this, they're not thinking about the money. They're looking at,
Yeah.
hey, how can I invest in my next steps? And what I love about
Yeah.
this program is that, or what I love to highlight to people is, it's called, this is term I like to say, it's micro urgency and macro patience, right? And
I love
our
that.
education award kind of helps with the macro patience, which is,
Hmm.
hey, in order to be successful, it's going to take time, right?
Right.
And through this time, we're going to give you the tools that can at least get you closer to that next step, regardless of what it's going to look like. But I mean, overall, Denise, this education award is really what draws a lot of people.
I love
And
that.
it's also just the connection that people are making because these cohort sizes are 30 plus members.
Right.
And so when you
Mhm.
graduate from the program, you have 30 plus connections going to
Yeah.
different fields, different areas. And just that accessibility and just the number of doors that could be available for those members or those individuals opens up a lot more.
Right. That's what I used to tell people too. I would say, if you look just at the actual numbers or per how much you get paid by the hour, I was like, don't look at it as that way because, yeah, you might make more money somewhere else, but think of it like in 11 months from then, you might still be at the same place versus like spending 11 months in a program like BAYAC and, doing what you can to get by like potlucks or carpooling. But like in those 11 months, you're going to get so much training. You're going to get a lot of networks that after these 11 months, you'll probably be in a better place. Just hang in there. So I know people are concerned, I think especially in the Bay Area, but tell people, you're going to gain so much from this program. Just do what you can just to make it for those 11 months, though.
Exactly.
Great. So I'd love to hear from you. What are some of the biggest needs facing youth in the Bay Area and communities right now? And what role do AmeriCorps members play in addressing these kinds of challenges?
That's a really great question. I think more than ever, youth need role models, guidance,
Mm-hmm.
especially in this tech-heavy, social media-heavy world, right?
Um,
Where kids have access to millions of people's perspectives on their palm of their hands.
right.
And because of that, there are too many voices that I feel like are confusing our youth as to what they want to do and how they want to walk in this world and what kind of impact they want to leave in this world.
Yeah.
And it sounds corny, but the next generation really is our future, right?
Yeah.
And especially as a man of color in education, they say that the most dangerous group out there is young men that have no direction, right?
Mm,
And that can apply also to just to any other student, regardless of what they identify. And we need individuals that can give these young folks clarity. They can give them support. There's a statistic that says there's a stat that says that youth only need 3 good adults in their life to be successful,
mm,
right?
right.
And I feel like that's what this program provides to the youth. It's multiple good people. I like to say that we produce good people. We cultivate people
I
that
agree.
care.
Yeah.
And through that selflessness, the world opens up to these individuals. But Yeah, it's really role modeled. It's people that care. It's also people that can look at this young generation and acknowledge how amazing and intelligent this generation is, because I like to say that adults tend to think we know everything,
Mm-hmm.
and youth can teach us something that we don't know as well. And so just staying curious, being open-minded, and always having a growth and a beginner mindset as well really helps us connect to youth. But yeah, it really goes back to role models.
Right.
Kids need that. A lot of kids come from broken homes or families that don't have both a mother, father,
Mm-hmm.
and or again, just going back to social media. Um, there's a lot of things that are being promoted that could be harmful and unhealthy. And I like to say that we produce good individuals that could be guardrails for our next generation of folks. Yeah,
Right. Thank you for sharing that. And I'd love to hear if you can talk more about like the specific positions that you have with BAYAC AmeriCorps, because I know that you partner with a lot of amazing partner sites throughout the Bay Area. So, what kinds of positions and service opportunities are available through BAYAC?
definitely, definitely. We have a number of positions available. There are some positions that we like to group up together and keep them under a general job description or job title. But most of our positions fall under student success coach and academic specialist, right? Or youth
Hmm.
development specialist. And that's just a fancy way of saying you are a program leader or a let's say like a program coordinator or maybe an assistant program coordinator. That's how I
Okay.
started off when I did my AmeriCorps term. But again, all our positions are aimed to help individuals, one, create an experience, provide experience, and create and provide experience. And again, going back to the program coordinator aspect of the positions, it's providing experience, it's supporting them in with their academics and academics, and it's also very social, emotional heavy, meaning
Okay.
you're helping young individuals learn how to manage their emotions, learn how to become self-aware, and as well as socially aware. It's about learning about yourself and learning how to work with others, right? And I
Hmm.
feel like most of our positions encompass those type of duties right there, deliverable.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for sharing that. And can you share a story about a BAC member who made an extraordinary impact in their community? I'd love to hear if like there's any member stories that you'd like to share.
Yeah. I have this one member right now. His name is Sean Crawford. Um,
Uh-huh.
he This is actually his first time working in the youth development space. Before this, he was working, I believe, in USF or UCSF, right, in the
Wow.
medical space. And Sean and I, we've had very long, extensive talks. And one thing that he has done recently that really inspired me
Hmm.
is that right now he works for this partner of ours called 826 Valencia, whose
Okay.
focus is literacy, right? Literacy
Hmm.
work and having students fall in love with writing, right? And he specifically works in D10, and D10 is the Bayview, Hunters Point area in San Francisco here,
Okay.
and which is predominantly black and brown. And Sean is a black man, and he specifically works at this one school called Willie Brown, and I used to work there too. And Sean recently, Sean is all about elevating black and brown voices,
Mm.
and one thing he knows in his, he's a father too, and one thing he noticed about Willie Brown and the students there was the lack of just male presence and male guidance. And one thing that he did recently that he deserves a big shout out is he has an enrichment and activity, a program where he teaches these young men how to tie a tie and the importance of it, right? So like the aspect of a rite of passage, and something as simple to someone, they can hear, oh, they're just learning how to tie a tie, but there's a deeper significance behind that action. What I've seen after our talks is these students are moving differently because of that. It sounds very corny, but it's the students see the love that's being invested onto them, right?
Mm.
It's
Mm.
the and again, these are the type of activities or scenarios or actions that you normally get from a parent, and him taking that
Mhm.
role to these young boys is just create a big impact. behavior behaviors have
Mhm.
gone down, behavior issues have gone down, the retention is going up higher, and those students just feel seen, right? They feel
Right.
seen through that enrichment. And also, he's a great poet too. He's been
Mhm.
able to create a platform for young student voices to be able to highlight their poems, to highlight their voice. And Sean does just an amazing and beautiful job to make sure that these voices are not silenced. And he constantly reminds the students that what they have to share to the world matters, right? That their presence matters, and that there are good people that are willing to invest in their growth, and that there are people that truly care. And whether that's a tie enrichment, or whether that's giving them a stage to share their poems, um, those students are reassured that there are people that care.
Right. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And,
Mhm.
I think that many people are searching for a purpose right now. There's a lot going on, but I think people want to give back right now. So, why do you think that a service year might be the perfect next step for folks who are thinking this way?
I think, again, going back to my personal journey, it
Uh-huh.
clarified my purpose. It gave me a why.
Yeah.
Which everybody has different values.
Okay.
Everybody will draw a different meaning from their work, right? But it sounds so corny, but I really do believe that humans are put into this world to help each other. And
Hmm.
yes, there's an industry that people get paid to do that, but it's just very fulfilling, right? It's very fulfilling. Humans in this world are constantly trying to find meaning, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, our lived experience can dictate how we define that meaning. But
Hmm.
I think this program, it just gives folks the platform to see what real impact can look like, right?
Right.
A lot of people, for example, there's a reason why folks write books, why
Hmm.
folks create amazing podcasts,
Right.
why people create amazing art, and it's because they want to leave a legacy as well. They want to be remembered and impact, right? That is the biggest thing we can offer as humans in this finite world. And
Yeah.
when you get to see that your presence can actually make a difference, it's something that it's a different type of fulfillment that even monetary success cannot compete with, right?
Right.
It's knowing that, hey, like my life, my presence can create an actual change, that I am valued, that people need me. And
Hmm.
maybe I'm only speaking for myself, but knowing that I'm needed, knowing that my presence in my life matters to somebody, and it keeps you going, right?
Yeah.
Again, humans are meant to help each other out. And when you can make an impact and you can see the growth from someone when they start from point A to point B, or for
Right.
example, like going back to what your former question, what kind of roles are out there? One role I forgot to mention was our college and career
Yeah.
readiness roles, which is pretty much bridging the gap from high school to college. I feel like our roles and our program allows us to create the type of change that can change the trajectory of people's lives. It could
Right.
change, it could bring success. It could bring so much. So I think most folks need to just be in the program to see it for themselves, right?
Yeah.
Because I can talk about it, and it's hard to talk about. It's one of those things you have to experience it,
Right.
because when you have no idea what you want to do, but you find a job or a program that can bring you joy, that can
Hmm.
bring you community, it can bring you connection, it's a different type of wealth that you tend to
Right.
experience through this program. I really feel like our program is really structured for folks to really explore themselves. It gives you moments to really reflect on who you are and who you're becoming. It helps you clarify what is um, what is meaningful to you. And one of the biggest things I like to tell
Yeah.
people too is that you can come out of this program and realize, hey, I don't want to do education. I don't want to do youth work. And
Uh-huh.
honestly, that's one of the best possible outcomes too. It's that clarity that, hey, this isn't for me, right?
Yeah.
So I really feel like, again, this program really does give a lot of clarity and meaning to folks if they're really intentional about it.
Right. Thank you. And can you please explain how does BAYAC help members develop professionally during their service year? I know you talked a little bit about that before, but yeah, I'd like to hear like more about that. Like what does this program offer to folks professionally throughout their service year?
Definitely. So, BAYAC has something we call team days, and team days are
Mm-hmm.
a core part of our program. They happen every first, third, and sometimes fifth Friday of the month. It depends on how
Okay.
long the month is, and it's free professional development. The purpose of those team days are we come
Mm-hmm.
together for training, we come together for reflection and pre-professional development, and connecting with other AmeriCorps members in their cohorts. And all our professional development are geared and tailored to becoming a great youth worker. Everything
Mm-hmm.
from learning how to have healthy boundaries with students, to how to collaborate with other folks in your team, to learning how to write curriculum, how to facilitate, how to own a space, right? How to establish a presence, how to successfully exit a community when you're transitioning out of BAC AmeriCorps, and also I like to split up our professional development into 2 semesters. The first semester is all tailored to how to be a great youth worker. A lot of like youth worker one-on-one stuff. Like I said, how to hold space, how to be a better program coordinator, how to collaborate, how to build a team, that sort of stuff. And the second half is how to exit the communities successfully,
Mm-hmm.
because again, young adults when kids, excuse me, when adult leaves a kid's life, the last thing
Mm-hmm.
we want is for the young kid to feel like they're being abandoned, right? I do
Right.
believe that clarity and closure is very important in our youth, and everybody deserves closure. And we like to train our folks to learn how to successfully implement that closure in a safe way. And also, the second half is just supporting our members to think about life after BAC AmeriCorps. And that's when we
Mm-hmm.
start supporting our members with resume reviews, cover letter reviews, where we start inviting external facilitators, or we start to have career panels with folks not only in education but in outside sectors, where our members can network with them, ask them questions, and really think about what the next steps could look like. But BAC is very intentional with the professional development. It's pretty
Yeah.
much how do we it's pretty much composed into 2 parts. How do we help you become a great youth worker, and how do we
Right.
prepare you for your next steps after life after AmeriCorps?
Great. Thank you for sharing that. And I know that you talked about how you now supervise and mentor emerging youth workers through BIAC. So, can you tell us what do you enjoy most about helping others grow into their leadership?
It's honestly seeing them become confident.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I remember when I graduated, I lacked confidence because I didn't have enough experience, and
Right.
just reminding folks that, hey, you're a boss, and I'm here
Hmm.
to help you become that boss, and you're capable of becoming that boss. And um, I'm only speaking for myself, but my confidence comes from my competency, right?
Mm.
And I really feel like this program really supports our members' growth in becoming the best student success coach, the best college and career readiness coordinator. Again, just seeing them become confident, seeing them become the best version of themselves.
But I no, that's what I think about what I appreciated about public allies too, and just like that whole like model of everyone leads and like teaching people that everyone as a leader. I think for me being like quiet and pretty soft spoken, I never saw myself as being that leader. But I think for me, I love seeing that light bulb or the like, that light in their eyes just really shine. Like I could make a difference too. I don't know. For me, it was something really special for people
Yeah,
to like realize what power they have and what kind of leaders they're capable of becoming.
exactly. And not just that, but I like to remind folks that, and we support our members through this process. It's reminding them and instilling that there is a better version of you waiting for you,
I
right?
love that. Yeah.
And I'm here to close that gap, and or close it as much as possible, by being at your side. I always tell members, hey, I'm your biggest cheerleader. I'm your
I love
coach,
that.
and
Hmm.
I'm also in your team as well. Whether it's being next to you, being behind you, or being in front of you, I'm there no matter what. And just seeing that again, just the confidence, just seeing them from being curious to competent,
Hmm.
and them owning spaces. And just like not too long ago, we had our presentation of learning, where our members shared their year-long learnings, and seeing that
Yeah.
contrast from how they began to where they're at, it's very rewarding. But Yeah, Denise, it's just reminding them that there is a better version of themselves
Yeah.
waiting, and we're there to support them right there.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. I really love that. And, I know that mentorship is like a big part of BAYAC's model as well. So I know that all BAYAC members have are assigned a regional supervisor such as yourself. And I know you have others on your staff as well. But I'd love to talk with you more about that. So why do you think that mentorship is such an important component of BAYAC's model?
Mm. Write that down real quick. Why is mentorship important? Uh, Honestly, it's everything. I mean,
Hmm.
we're not born into this world knowing everything. People tend to see when we talk about success, people tend to see the final product, but they don't see everything that happens behind the scenes that led to that moment, right?
Hmm.
And mentorship is, like I said earlier ago, is it goes back to humans wanting to help each other, right?
Hmm.
And there's no such thing as a one man, one woman, one person army, right? You
Right.
need a community, you need a village, whether it's behind you, in front of you, or next to you. You need someone to put you on. And mentorship is everything. I mean, I'm here in this 8 years in. I'm a manager. I'm a director because I had the right
Yeah.
mentors in my life. And I like to say, hey, humans, leaders are humans.
Hmm.
We will all make mistakes. We are going to disappoint each other, right? And my personal philosophy is, hey, take a look at everybody you know, take a look at the people you admire, and
Hmm.
pull out the characteristics, the attributes, or the values that you respect, that you want to embody yourself, and add that to your own toolkit of leadership, of mentorship, right?
Right.
Because you never know when someone else is going to need it. And I'll just metaphorically or imagery wise, it's the it's the image of giving someone a hand, right? That's what
Yeah.
mentorship is. No one has gone anywhere in life without having someone next to them, without a team. And especially for folks who are just graduating out of college, I feel like mentors are able to give our young members clarity of what works, right?
Hmm.
What's sustainable, what's important. I like to say that mentorship is like a bridge and also a filter. A bridge that
Right.
connects you from point A to point B, but also a filter to be able to get the clarity to know what direction you want to go to as well to cross that bridge.
Right. Thank you for sharing that. And next, I'd love to talk to any potential partners who may be listening to this episode. So, why should schools and nonprofits consider becoming BAYAC partner sites?
That's a great question. Why should partners consider becoming BAYAC sites? The
Mhm.
easiest answer to that is that it sounds kind of corny, but you find
Mhm.
people who truly care, you know?
Mhm.
You find
Yeah.
people who truly care. Again, part of in recruitment, one thing I like to tell folks is why are you applying to this program versus a traditional full-time job, right?
Mhm.
Even though our roles are considered full-time job, it's just a stipend that makes it different. And again, it goes back to the values and the mission behind the program. It's the fact that we are there to serve underserved communities, and we're there to provide mentorship and provide an investment in our members' education and next steps through that education award. And just going back to what I said, it's hard to
Mhm.
find people who care, who are really
Mhm.
in it for just the impact, for the work. And always going back to the stipend, we
Yeah.
know we don't pay the most short term, but long term, it leads to a lot. And there's something about an individual that is going to sacrifice an X amount of time in their
Mhm.
life and work a lot and sacrifice a lot of their time. It says a lot about them, right? It says that it's
Right.
not about them, it's about others. So I feel
Mhm.
like if they're looking for someone who's truly trying to make impact, who is really focusing on retention, our program is that. You know,
Mhm.
we look for the best. We really do. We look for people who are genuinely curious that really want to leave an impact in this world, and they're not here. They're not here for the money. And
Mhm.
I like to say the money will come. Just give yourself a allow yourself to grow, right? You have to be ready
Mhm.
for the abundance you're asking for, right? And
Mhm.
we're here to provide that foundation. So, yeah, it's finding genuine people who are genuinely intentional about making an impact. And there isn't no side agenda. What I love about our program is that, and I see it every year, there are
Mhm.
always an X amount of BAC members who end up getting offered a full-time position at their host site, right?
Wow, that's great.
So it's kind of like the transition of I'm an intern to now I'm a
Mm-hmm.
full-time employee at the company that I interned at, right?
Yeah.
That's what happened to me, and that's what jump-started my career.
Mm-hmm.
When I worked at 7TPs through Public Allies, I was an assistant program coordinator, and when I finished my term, not even a couple months later, they called me saying, "Hey, the impact you left was amazing. People are still talking
Oh,
about you. We need you to come back."
that's
and
cool.
and and they hired me. So it's what it gave me was, hey, there is an organization that really valued my presence and my impact. And even though I was just an intern, I made such an impact, such a big impact that they wanted me to come back. And
Mhm.
we've seen some members this year already get offered some full-time positions for next
Wow.
year
Yeah.
because of their impact. But yeah, it's that. But also, just speaking about what I've seen from members, I mean, specifically the college and career readiness folks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm thinking of like my two members, Luis, Jaden. These two individuals are literally changing the trajectory of people's lives, and the fact that they both work for Mission Grants, and the fact that they are the reason why a lot of students are getting into the dream schools, right? And
Mm-hmm.
or they're going to colleges and is all paid for. Those are the type of things that doesn't get highlighted enough. That's so important that I like to highlight from the program. I mean, we're making
Right.
real impact, right? We're stepping stones and we're bridges, and we are a launching pad for people's next steps, regardless of what that may be. And
Yeah.
especially coming from an inner city, coming from San Francisco, it's hard to imagine a life sometimes out of the city. And I like to say that our program really just catapults and creates like a light, a spotlight that there's more out there, right?
Right. Thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you so much for taking the time to like talk about BAYAC and just really warms my heart to see the kind of impacts that you're making in community. But I'd love to hear from you. If you could narrow it down, everything that we've talked about. What is one reason someone should apply to BAYAC AmeriCorps today?
It's a couple things actually. The first thing is, especially for my folks who are just graduating out of college or graduating out of high school, one thing I have had to learn the hard way about just moving up in life is sometimes it's less about who you are or what you
Mhm.
do. It's about who knows you, right? And who you know. And there's that quote, your net worth is dependent on your network, right?
Right.
And BAC does a really great job in creating a really strong network within the field that can open up multiple doors. And the thing about people is that you're constantly changing, so your values are going to change. Where you start is not where you're going to end up. So again, going back to community building in AmeriCorps cohorts is when you graduate from this program, you're walking away with 30 plus, 60 plus connections that could be 60 plus, 30 plus potential doors that are
Right.
waiting for you to be open. There are 30 plus 60 different versions of you waiting for you to open that door.
Yeah.
Um, I like to say that. And two, it's, hey, if you know what you want to do and you know it involves continuing education, let us
Mhm.
help you make that as affordable as possible, right? If we can
Right.
help you get into your dream school and walk away with the least amount of debt so that you're able to just focus on just making the impact that you've been working on, we're there to provide that platform. So it goes back to connections, it goes back to investing in your future goals. And also, the biggest thing is it's just community, right? A
Right.
lot of the back members that were in my cohort, they're still my friends till this day. And I like to say that I have an extended family because of this program, not just in San
Right.
Francisco, but all over the Bay Area.
Right. I love that. And, thank you again for your time. But just as we're wrapping up, I'd love for you to talk to the listeners directly. So, if someone listening is looking for a way to make a difference, what would you want to say to them or want them to know?
It sounds corny,
Uh
but do it. Life is too short to not leave a mark in this world, right?
Yeah.
Man, there's this quote. I'm gonna butcher it, but obviously we're all human. Our time here is finite. One day we're not gonna be
Mm.
here anymore. So if we're not gonna be here one day, it's best to leave this world empty. And what do I mean by that? it's leaving the world knowing that you've given it your all, that you shared your gifts, you shared what makes you you to the world,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. What a beautiful note to end on. And just lastly, where can listeners learn more about, apply, or get involved with BAC?
Definitely, definitely. So one, you can take a look at our website at bayac.org. Again, that's
Mm-hmm.
BAYAC.org. Take a look. You can also find us, you can definitely find us on Indeed, on Handshake for our open positions. But definitely take a
Yeah.
look at our website. Take a look at our LinkedIn as well. Those are two great places you can find information about us as well.
Right. Wonderful. Well, thank you again for your time. You're doing such wonderful work in community. I love what you're putting out there, your just personal visions that you have for community and how you're mentoring all these young people or the people in your program. But yeah, I wish you nothing but the best, and I hope that more people can get involved with your program. And yeah, I'm looking forward to staying connected with you and hope that you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Denise. I really appreciate being here, and to thank you
Yeah.
for having me as a host today. And just really grateful, really grateful. Thank
Yeah, I'm grateful for you too. Thank you so much. Okay, bye.
you.
Thank you for being here and tuning in to Voices That Propel Us, stories of justice, action, and community. Your presence in this movement matters. If today's conversation moved you, share it, talk about it, and keep the work going. Together, we're not just imagining change, we're making it. Until next time, stay bold, stay grounded, and stay in the fight.
Every time I feel so mad and sad and bad, I say to myself, relax, lean back, it's a brand new day. And every time I feel so down that a friend